All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Yatazadak here of Israel. I'd like to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to Zechariah chapter 5, going into the Hebrew, so Lord willing, you're ratified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Right, so let's get right into it. Zechariah chapter 5, right, which goes into the flying scroll, right, which is the vision that Zechariah the prophet saw, which was actually a chariot, an unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is what Esau Edom calls it, so-called white man, right? So this is the flying scroll, right? So the chapter is very brief. We're gonna touch on some Bible maps and go into some of the history in the book of Genesis. Right. So let's get right into it. This is Zechariah chapter 5 and verse 1. And it reads, "And I returned and I lifted up my eyes, and I saw, and behold, a flying scroll, right, or a roll, which is the blue letter, translates it as a flying roll. Now you have that word galah once again, right, which the previous chapter, the word galah was talking about an opening which was called a bowl on top of the candlestick, and this is what the prophet Zechariah described, right? But now he is seeing a flying roll, right? Which is on point, because the word galah, again, it means to remove, right? In this case, for example, when you see a chariot, which are the so-called UFOs in the Holy Bible, in Scripture, throughout all the Scripture, right, the way the chariots manifest, right, they come from the fourth dimension, right? So they, in a sense, right, there's a breach in the dimensions, right? When the chariot appears, right, goes through portal or whatever the case may be, right? So there's an opening, right, which the chariot appears through, right? In this case, the prophet Zechariah didn't necessarily know how to describe it. Now let's look up that word. See if we can Salakia, find any other words for scroll. You have sapar, right? I know there's another one. Roll. Let's see if I can find something for that. Which is Gal Yawan. That's what I was looking for. Let's click on it, see what it says. A tablet made of wood, stone, or metal, which anything is inscribed, which would be a scroll, right? Not necessarily a table or a tablet, the word galah, Strong's, which is Strong's H1540, right? Used in a variety of applications, right? So that word galah, the root, it means to disclose, reveal, to uncover, right? Which is basically what you do when you remove a covering, which is why it basically means to remove, right? But anyways, so the flying scroll or roll, right? Which is Magala Ipa, right? The word Ipa is Iwap, meaning to fly, right? So it says Wa Ashawab, Wa Asha'a, Ayanya, Wa Ra'a, Wahana, Magala Ipa, right? So it's saying, and I returned, and I lifted up my eyes, and I saw, and behold, a flying scroll. Zechariah 15:2, and he said unto me, what do you see? And I said, I see a scroll that flies. The length being 20 cubits, and the width 10 cubits, or 10 in cubits, right? Because that word ba means in, a ma is a cubit. So it says, Wa amar alia ma tha ra'a, wa amar anya ra'a magala ipa araka Aisharium Ba'ama Wa Rahaba Aishar Ba'ama. Right, so let's see what a cubit is. Let's see. Salakia. 1 cubit equals how many feet? So it equals to about 1.5 feet, right? So it was about roughly about 25 feet, right? That's pretty big, right? And the width of it was so that was the length of it, right? So it was huge, right? The width being 10, right? So it was about 15 feet wide, right? Zechariah 15:3, and he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth out upon the face of all the earth, because all that steal from this, according to it, are declared innocent, and all that swear from this, according to it, are declared innocent. Right? The curse that goeth over the whole land is America, Babylon the Great. Right? All that steal, right? Because it was founded upon the principles of what? Manifest destiny. Right? Is what Esau said. He said, right, basically, right, the Lord backed him up and was on his side, and he was, right? The Most High God gave the Gadites into his hand, and even Jake, right? Slaughtering thousands and thousands of indigenous Native Americans, and right, and they call it Thanksgiving, right? Nas called it holiday hell day, right? Um, all that steal and all that swear, right? Because even right, you go to the courts, right? They swear upon the Bible. Right, they have you swear upon the Bible. Um, Presidential inaugurations, they swear, they have the president swear upon the Bible, which is right, which basically it doesn't mean anything because they're the wicked, right? And thus far they've been declared innocent. Why? Because there hasn't been no retribution for the bloodshed of the children of Israel, right? There hasn't been right retribution upon the wicked, which has sworn falsely, right? Um, so it says, "Waya amar alia za'ath ha alha haya taza'ath al panya kol ha arataza kaya kol ha ganab meaning to steal, maza kama nakwa wakol ha nashabai maza kama nakwa." Right, Shabai meaning to swear, right? Nakwa, let's look at that word, Zechariah 5:3. Salakia, just bear with me. Zechariah chapter 5 and verse 3. Nakwa, Strong's H5352. So this is what the camps aren't telling you. They're not going into the Hebrew. They're not going into the Greek. They're not describing the gospel as they should be described. Meaning what? The children of Israel, right? We're mingled amongst the people, right? So we're not necessarily saying because you look white or black that you're an Israelite or you're Edomite, because you have the Northern Kingdom, which are the so-called Hispanics. A lot of us are whitewashed because we have we have mingled amongst the people, right? So that's the point, right? That these other camps, IUIC, right? They're not. I mean, I give them props because they go into certain secular history, right? I watch certain um, of their lessons, but a lot of it is just I see a lot of gimmicks, right? But they do go into the history here and there, right? So that word nakwa means to be pure, uh, innocent, right? Which could be nakwa or nakwai, innocent. Let's see. Salakia Naquaya. Innocent, guiltless, blameless, clean, clear, exempt, free, variant, right? So this is what the prophet Zechariah saw. He saw the chariot, right? And the angel that spoke with him explained to him, right, that this is the curse that goeth over all of the land of America, Babylon Great, because at the end of the day, the Lord is going to make a visitation, which is, his name is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Ba'ashem means in the name Yahushai, Hamashiach is who you call Jesus Christ in ignorance, right? I'm not talking about, right, Christianity, Catholicism will give you pure, unadulterated truth, right? In the scriptures, prophecy, right? The sign of the times that we're in, right? So this is what's going to happen. The chariots are going to return to deliver a remnant, right? Deliver the remnant of the Israelites, right? 2/3 are going to take the Charagma, and right, so this is the curse that goes throughout all the earth. So the chariots are going to come, right? Like it says in the book of Habakkuk, that power was it. The beams was coming from the horn, meaning from the hands, meaning from the sides of the ships, right? So the chariots are coming, right, to wreak havoc as well as the missiles, right, which is going to be at World War III. All right, like it says in Book of Revelation, the third woe cometh quickly, right? Which is why you have recently, right, another country joined the BRICS AI nation. I think it was man, I'm bugging. I gotta check real quick. Anyway, I might go over that in another video. Don't want to stray from the lesson, but so that's what that verse is about, right? So up until now, they've gone unpunished, right? But there's going to be a day of visitation, right? Zechariah 5:4. I have sent it, say the Lord of hosts, and it will enter into the house of the thief, to the house of he that sweareth upon my name for falsehood, and it will tarry in the midst of their house, and will consume it, and unto its timber, and unto its stone. So it reads, Hataza'ath ya Naam Yahweh Tazabawath wa Ba'ah al Bayath ha Ganab wa al Bayath ha Nashabai Bashamya la Shakwar wa Lana, meaning to tarry, Shakwar meaning falsehood, Bathawaka Bayathwa, Bathawaka meaning in the midst, Wakalathwa, and will consume it, Wa'atha Ataza Yawa, Wa'atha Aban Yawa, meaning to its timber and to its stone. Because the Lord is Salakia. The Lord is going to send the chariots, right? And the scriptures say that the destruction is going to come in 1 hour, right? So the chariots, right? You can get an account, an idea of how that's going to happen, because you read about that in the book of Luke, and the Lord said, Yahushua, he said, those that will not serve me, bring them hither before me and slay them. Right? Now, did that ever happen? No. Yeah, Yahushua, he was talking about, right, what would happen in the latter days, right? He also said there'd be wars, rumors of wars, right? Um, so we'll enter into the house of the thief, and he that sweareth falsely upon my name, right? And so this is what Yahushua said. He said, those will not serve me, cut them asunder, slay them before me, right? Because that's what the chariots are going to do, the lasers, right? Not only to the thief, to Esau Edom, right? To the heathens, right? And 2/3, right? Because you got particular camps, right? Swearing falsely, right? Using the name Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, but they're not teaching the proper doctrine, right? They're not giving the proper understanding, right? So it says they will tarry in the midst of their house, meaning they're not going to be able to escape from the destruction, because you're going to have martial law, you're going to have all hell break loose in that day. You're not going to have a covering, right? Scriptures say that in that day, they're going to say, Lord, Lord, we have prophesied in your name, right? Open unto us, right? That's talking about the chariots, right? Instead, the chariots are going to zap these 2/3 away, right? Now you might think you're in the truth, you might, right, go out and teach, but if you're not doing it, right, in sincerity and in truth, the Lord doesn't need you, right? He might preserve you to deceive the masses, but you're going to be destroyed, right, at the end of the day. And the timber and the stone, right, because that's all that's going to fall in America, Babylon Great. Everything, right? The foundation is going to be a perpetual desert, right? So it's talking about, right, right, the destruction, right? So it's not actually going to, right, chariots aren't actually going to go in somebody's house and, right, they're going to zap it up, right? That's not how it's going to happen, right? It's talking about the destruction, right? Zechariah chapter 5 and verse 5. And he went out the angel that spoke with me, and he said unto me, lift up now your eyes and see what is this that cometh out? Wayataza'ah ha mala'aka ha debar baya waya amar alia sha'a na'a ayan yaka wa ra'a ma hayataza'ath haza'ath. And I said, what is it? And he said, this is the epath that goeth out, and he said, this is its appearance in all the earth. This is verse 6. Wa amar ma haya'a wa ya amar za'ath ha hayapa hayataza'ath wa ya amar za'ath ayanam bakal ha-rataza, right? So an epath, right, is a measure of weight, right? Which let's take a look at it. Give you an idea of what it looks like. Epath in the Bible. Not the ephod. This is an epath. It's like a basket, sort of, right? Which is a dry measure. So like, yeah, let's get that one picture I was looking for. Just to get a better visual. So this is an epath. It is a dry measure. It's about 22 liters, 20 dry quarts. Right here. This is where the vision gets a little bit strange, right? Because the epath, I guess it was flying, or whatever the case may be. And he said this is its appearance. But the Zechariah translates it as this is their eye in all the land, right? Zechariah, which it just means this is its appearance, right? Zechariah 5:7, and behold, a talent of lead was lifted up, and this is a woman, one which sitteth in the midst of the epath. Wahana kakor aparath nasha'ath waza'ath asha achath yashabath bathawaka ha'ayapa. Right, because that word kakar means to be round or a talent, right? Lead is aparath. Yashab means to sit. Let's look at that word kakar. Salakia. Blue that, or just type in Zechariah 5. No, it's not pulling up. Alright, kind. So kakar, Strong's H 3603. A circle, right? Globe. Salakia, you read about that in the book of Genesis, right? When Lot lifted up his eyes and looked round about, I believe that's that word kakar, to look round about. Kakar laham, a cake, a talent. See if that pulls up. Yep. So Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all which was round about the Jordan, right? Because that word kakar, circle, tract, region, a talent, large, round coin, right? So this is what the prophet Zechariah saw. He saw an epath flying, and then it got weirder because that disc of lead was covering for the epath, right? So this is what he saw. He saw an epath, and then he saw that's the lead talent, which was sort of like a circle cover, right? It was flying, right? So we saw it, moving in the sky, and it had this cover on it of lead. The lead was lifted up. So this is Zechariah watching that cover being opened, and there was a female seated inside. Right? Which that figure represents the nation of Israel, right? Zechariah 5 and 8. And he said, "This is wickedness," and he threw it unto the midst of the epath, and he threw to the stone of lead unto its mouth. Right? So it's talking about the wickedness of the nation of Israel, right? Sort of when you put a child on timeout, right? The woman was sort of in like timeout inside that epath, right? The angel said, "This is wickedness." So he was kind of like, it doesn't say it, but he was kind of pointing at the woman and shaming her, which represents the nation of Israel, right? And he threw that lead cover back on the epath, right? Right. So right, because here it's saying that he threw her to the midst of the epath, right? So he's basically right. It was like he didn't actually throw the woman in there because she was already there, right? So that wickedness was something else that he threw in the midst of it. Symbolic, Salakia, it's late. Symbolically, he threw wickedness in there, in the midst, inside the epath with the woman. This represents Israel taking their transgressions with them throughout all these various captivities for going off, right? So the Sepharia says he threw the woman in there, but she was already in there, right? So maybe it was just like a ball of dark matter, right? It was symbolically, it was something that which wasn't described. He just said this is wickedness, and he threw it in the midst, right, of the epath where the woman was, and it was in there with the woman. right? And he put the lead weight back on the mouth, meaning on the cover, to cover the epath, right? Waya Amar Za'ath Ha Rashaya Waya Shalak Atha Al Thawaka Ha Ayapa Waya Shalak Atha Aban Ha Iparath Al Paya. Zechariah 5 and 9. Let's see how many more verses we got left. And I lifted up my eyes, and I saw, and behold, 2 women came out, and the wind was in their wings, and unto them they were wings like the wings of a stork, and was lifted up unto the epath between the earth and between the heavens. Wa Asha'a Ayanya Wa Ara'a Wa Hana Shathium Nashayum Yataza'ath Wa Racha Ba Kanap Yahum Wa Lahana Kanapium Ka Kanapia Ha Chasyada Wata Sha'ana Atha Ha'ayapa Bayan Ha'arataza Wa Bayan Hashamayim. Right, the 2 figures is now describing the northern and southern kingdom. Right, they had the wings, right, and they were carried by the wind, right, just like you read about in Revelation chapter 12, right. The woman, which represents the nation of Israel, was given wings, right, to go into the wilderness for times and dividing a time, right, meaning to go into let's get that real quick, Salakia. I don't want to mess it up. This is Revelation chapter 12, and verse, I believe it's around verse, here it is. Revelation 12 and 14, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent, right? So those wings of great eagle, right? It just means that the nation of Israel, starting with the southern kingdom, fled from Roman persecution, right? They fled into the wilderness. The wilderness represents the interiors of West Africa and also throughout the whole earth, right? Because when Jake fled from the Romans after 70 AD, right, they went they fled. Some went into the Caucasus Mountains, some went to, but mostly into the interiors of West Africa. But they went throughout other parts, which is why you got Jake in India, you got Jake in Russia, right? They might look like Edomites, they might look like Hamites, right? They might look like Ammon, they might look like Japheth, right? So that's the wilderness. The place, and to her place is another place that's talking about America, Babylon the Great in its due time, right? So again, Zechariah 5 and 9, the 2 female figures is the northern and southern kingdom, right? Again, they had wings like those of a stork, and they lifted up to the epath between the earth and between the heaven, meaning what? They they had to bear their burdens for their sins, which is talk about the northern and southern kingdom of the nation of Israel. Now this doesn't mean anything super deep when it says between the heavens and between the earth. It just means that, right, we went off and, right, we had to, right, go through it, right, here in the flesh, right. So it says, so it doesn't mean, verse 9 doesn't mean, oh, well, uh, between the heaven and between the earth, because uh, um, the Lord's Prayer, it says, right, kingdom come, thy will be done on earth and is in as it is in heaven, and that's what it means, Ak. It's super deep. See, you have to divide the ah with the ra to za, ah ra, ha ha, ha 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 ha. No, like you need to sober up, Jake. Right? So that's not what it's talking about. It's not super deep. It just means the nation of Israel had to bear their iniquities, right? Zechariah 5 and 10. And I said unto the angel that spoke with me, from whence are they? Whence are they going? Right? That's just a fancy way of saying where are they going? With the epath. Wa amar al ha mala'aka ha dabar baya ana hama malakath atha ha ayapa. So basically Zechariah said, where are they going with the epath? Right? Because now you have, right, two women. It's like it and give you a visual. There's the epath. Right? And they're kind of, carrying it, right? They're kind of, carrying the epath. So this was kind of a, it's kind of a weird vision. Right? Remember the other woman was here. Wickedness is in there with the woman, which represents the nation of Israel, now northern southern kingdom, is bearing that epath with the letter cover, which is the wickedness of the nation of Israel, right? But now it's focusing on the woman. They're taking it somewhere. So like they're taking it somewhere. They have wings of a stork, right? So they're kind of, and Zechariah said, where are they taking it, right? Zechariah 5 and 10, 11, and he said unto me, to build unto it a house in the land of Shinar, and to establish it, and it shall rest there upon its base. By Amar Alia Labanath Laha Bayath Ba'aratazah Shanar Wahakan Wahanayacha Shum Al Makanatha. Right? Because that word Khan or Kawan meaning to prepare or to establish. Right? Makanath just means a stand or a base. Right? So the Zechariah says to build a shrine. It's not what it's talking about. Now let's look at where is Shinar today and where was it back then, right? Let's look at the biblical map. Shinar, which is the name for the southern region of Mesopotamia used in the Hebrew Bible, right? Hebrew Shinar is equivalent to the Egyptian Sangar and Hittite Sanhar, all referring to southern Mesopotamia. Some Assyriologists considered Shinar a western variant and cognate of Sumer, which is that's what it is. It's Sumer, right? Let's look at the Bible map, which is referenced in Genesis chapter 10, right? Which is a city of the sons of Ham. You have Mount Ararat, which is up north. You have Nineveh, right? That's mentioned in Genesis. You have Akkad, which is Acadia. Which is, you see, Babylon is where is it? Sumer. You see Sumer. You have Babylon, Babylonia, Akkad. All these places are referenced in the book of Genesis, right? Assyria, Nineveh, Asher, which is a region, but also represents a people. Here up north is the Hittite Empire. Let's go to Genesis chapter 10. We'll close up. Lord willing, you were edified. This is Genesis chapter 10, verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. Right? Which when you read about the Assyria, right? The Proto-Assyrians were the Cushites. Right? The Neo-Assyrians were various Hamitic tribes like the Hittites. You had some of the other Semitic tribes that inhabited that region afterwards, right? So Nimrod became to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, wherewith it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, right? The Tower of Babel, Erech, Akkad, right? Calneh in the land of Shinar, right? You have Acadia there, you have Babel, right? Which is Babylon. You have Shinar, you have Asher, you have Nineveh, right? So this was the beginning of his kingdom. And then later on, out of that land went forth Asher and builded Nineveh and the city of Rehoboth and Calneh, right? So these are these various settlements, right? But this region is very important because, right, you have Abraham, right, was from Mesopotamia. Says he lived in northern Mesopotamia, Haran, which is northern Mesopotamia. which is Terah was from Ur in southern Mesopotamia, right? So this is a very important region, but it also, right, today, right, you have a lot of these, right, Nimrod and all these pagan customs that come from ancient Babylon, right? Even when you had the Romans, the Greeks, the Romans, they basically worship these same idols, but they were given different names. They were reinvented, right? And prophecy is states that we would be in a new Babylon, right? Sodom and Egypt, right? So this is very important pertaining to prophecy, and it's no coincidence that, right, these are also pertain to latter day prophecies. What is written here in verse 11, right? Because who built America, Babylon the Great? Jake, right? Free labor, hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Which here it says Shinar, but it doesn't say Babylon. But that's the region, right? Now, Slovakia. So let's look at the Sumer people, right? Because these are just to show you. These are the sons of Ham, right? It wasn't no goddamn pale right. I'm not gonna say Arab because that just means mixed, right? You got to know your definition of words, right? Just like the original Egyptians are, right? They were the sons of Ham, because you got to keep in mind they were the right vast majority. There were vast tribes. There was many of them, so their regions extended really far out east. Egypt, right? Jordan, which they're in Jordan today, the actual Egyptians, right? Uh, the Philistines, those were the sons of Ham, right? They were black, right? They're still black. These are the Sumerians, um, and you see they call them black-headed ones, right? Uh, so what Esau tries to give you a whitewashed version of the Egyptians, and right automatically, right, you open a book and you see this. It's a lot here. Let me scroll down. You see this. You see this guy, the guy that's selling you Lucy's on the corner store. They didn't look like that, right? The guy selling you your Lucy's, no, they were black, right? Look at look at this dude. This is an Acadian, right? That is what you would call, right, a coarse beard, right? Woolly beard. That's woolly hair. The features are of a right dark skinned individual, right? The features are the features of a black man, right? one of the sons of Ham, right? This is a melanated individual, right? Automatically, you can tell, right? This wasn't um what do you call it? Um, this was not no pale individual, right? So this is the original Akkadians, right? Let's see, today Akkadian people. Oh no, that's Sargon. Right, so that's not doesn't look the same. I'm trying to get a picture of a anyways, you get the point. So they were the tribes of Ham, right? Cushites, and then later on, other tribes, other Hamitic tribes occupy that area, and they always did occupy that area, right? Nineveh, right? Kala, and so on and so forth, right? So they built that house in Shinar, which represents the nation of Israel. So they had to bear that wickedness, right? The burden throughout various captivities, right? They built that house in the land of Shinar because this would be the resting place of Israel in the latter days, and they would bear their iniquity here in the latter days. And now, right, we're back in the regeneration, right? Through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. So, like I said, this wasn't really a super long chapter. Zechariah chapter 5, going into the Hebrew. Brother Yatazadak, hero of Israel. Lord willing, you're edified, and as always, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Kwam Yasha Allah, Abad Babal, Shalom.